At Tiny HomeAlliance Canada, we just love all the amazing people doing great things that can be found right here in our own communities. Tiny Home Heroes was created so we could share these stories to help our community and followers learn more about tiny homes, the builders who make them, and the people who live there. So hello and happy Saturday to all our friends out there in the tiny home community. Today we have a wonderful presentation from our newest business member, and after that we'll get to talk about what we've seen. Our guest today, Laura BLEASE, is the founder of Seeds for Eco Communities, an Ontario-based nonprofit organization with a global vision. SFEC was established in 2016 and provides information, tools, and resources to individuals who are seeking to move the yardstick on reducing the carbon footprint with a focus on sustainable off-grid living. Laura wears many hats at SFEC. She is a member of their board of directors and the advisory committee. She is the organization's treasurer, and she plays a leadership role in a number of activities and events to support new partnerships and grow the organization. Seeds for Eco Communities is not only a great name for what Laura and her partners are working towards, it could also easily serve as a mantra for what the tiny home movement is all about. And as the newest member of Tiny Home Alliance Canada, her contributions to affordable and sustainable living continue to grow. So with that, I'd like to turn the floor over to Laura BLEASE. So thanks for being here today, Laura.
Thanks so much for the invitation today. It's always great to come together and talk to like-minded people. So I'm just going to share the screen here. I have a few slides to present to you today. As mentioned, I do wear many hats at Seeds for Eco Communities, and I'm very fortunate to be the founder of this wonderful organization. So this is just a snapshot of a few things I was going to talk to you about today. Wanted to start out with talking about what is an eco community, as that is a lot of what we support and promote. Then we'll move on to talking about who we are, some of our objectives and goals, and touch upon some of our outreach, education, and learning opportunities. Then one of our most exciting projects, the pilot community that we're looking to get up and running, and talk a little bit about how you can get involved. Whether you're an individual, a business owner, or government, we all have a role to play. So we'll touch upon that, and then we'll move it over to some questions, comments, and discussion. So what is an eco community? At Seeds for Eco Communities, we define it as a group of like-minded people living together in harmony with the surrounding environment, sharing tools and resources to protect the earth for future generations. So eco communities can come in many different shapes and sizes, and they're essentially all moving towards looking at the long-term sustainability and respect for the environment and each other. So who are we? So we were established as a not-for-profit organization in 2016, and we share information, tools, and resources with people around the globe. We're looking at, teaching people how to live with their environment instead of on their natural environment. There's a lot of information out there, so our focus is sharing resources on sustainable off-grid community-based living. However, in order to kind of get to that type of lifestyle, we do recognize that there's a need for also general education to support moving of the yardstick. We also help to guide that respectful relationship with both the local environment and community. Also, in today's day of age, we just try and help people learn about how to work together and how to share. There's many opportunities for efficiencies as well as cost savings if we do that. So just touching upon some of our objectives and goals. The first one is around conservation, protection, and restoration of the environment. So we have a variety of projects and programs around building and living practices that have little to no impact on the earth. Secondly, connecting and communicating is an important goal for us. This is around education, improving that general public awareness, and also bringing into the conversation First Nations and Aboriginal traditional and cultural heritage. Our third is around undertaking and sharing research. This includes research on economic, environmental, and social elements of ecological community-based living. This is looking both at the benefits and opportunities, but as well as the lessons learned and what has not worked in eco communities around the globe. We were fortunate to partner with the Public Good Initiative and do some research of eco-communities around the globe, and we're developing resources with that information we've gathered. And finally, respectful cooperation. As mentioned, working together is important, and helping others liaise with their local community to respect both the local territories as well as government laws and bylaws. So how do we do it? In a few different ways here. We share online resources, so you can check out our website. There's lots of different resources there. Participating in events, which allows information sharing as well as some educating. For example, we did some teaching on hempcrete building. We try and educate and empower others around this type of living and just make it fun. And as well, we work together to develop new partnerships with like-minded people. So there's a few pictures here, just some samples of events and materials we have on our website. We create lesson plans, fact sheets, monthly blogs and monthly newsletters, green building resources, and a lot of resources for the youth. The future generations will be the ones who will be here running the show when we're all gone. So we have cartoons, activities, as well as some tools around navigating some of the government rules around sustainable off-grid living. One of the exciting projects I mentioned we have underway is we are looking to establish a pilot community here in Ontario. It has been good even since the organization was established. In the last few years, we are seeing some movement at the provincial level, as well as with the municipalities and individuals who are really getting excited about this type of living. For our pilot community, we are looking to locate it 1 to 4 hours driving distance from Toronto. And this is to really facilitate the maximum exposure so people can come and have a day learning experience. But we also do plan to provide longer term stays and educational opportunities there. In terms of the land, it could be roughly anywhere from 5 to 100 or more acres. And we are looking for land that has no contamination on it, as well as clean water and energy sources for the community. So just wanted to plant the seed. We welcome ideas, discussion, and any potential opportunities and partnerships. So if you're interested at any time, please reach out on this project. So if you're wondering how to get involved, as mentioned, everybody has a role to play. So municipalities can definitely look at their official plans, amending them to recognize a special designation for sustainable living. They should also be taking more of a one water approach when they're managing their stormwater, wastewater, and drinking water. The federal and provincial governments could also, accelerate those updates into the building code and look at some incentives and grants to help promote innovation in the green technologies, because that's how you really demonstrate what works. Businesses and organizations can also incorporate outreach and education around environmentally conscious business choices and make those choices in the products they buy and the activities they do. And they could also look to put a small portion of their profits towards charities and not-for-profits that are doing this important work. And also on an individual level, we can all have a look and reduce our carbon footprint. We can talk to our local politicians, perhaps start a sustainable business in our area. And one common thing that individuals are not aware of is when the government makes laws, they often post them. There's an opportunity to comment. So if there's, information up there around affordable housing, sustainable living, get your comments in there because they need to consider those. And the more they hear, the more of a difference that will make. And I guess just in general, everyone can become a leader. Once you have that knowledge, if you're able to teach and share with others, that's what we're really all about. So in closing, I just wanted to share a quote from Margaret Mead with you. Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it is the only thing that ever has. So thank you once again. And with that, if there's any questions or comments, happy to continue discussions.
I certainly hope that everybody watching this will already be hitting those comments. So thank you so much for that presentation and sharing finally with our community what you guys do over there. Now, something that stuck out to me right in the beginning here is, and I've read it a few times now, you guys like to use the term moving the yardstick. And, I've only ever heard the old adage, raising the bar. And I don't want to assume that means the same thing, because so now why moving the yardstick? Where does that come from?
Sure, that's a great question. I think for a lot of people who have decided they want to start living a more sustainable life, often that includes, reducing your carbon footprint. And one of the great ways to do that is to just live in a smaller space with less stuff, to put it simply. And I think for a lot of people, the thought of maybe immediately going to, say, a 200 square foot tiny home is a little bit daunting for them. They can't make that huge jump all at once. So I think moving the yardstick is about, there's a lot of resources and information out there, and people don't really know where to start. So we're trying to bring together those resources towards that sustainable way so that people can maybe undertake an activity or a challenge with their family and reduce their waste. Start to look at some of the activities they do, some of the stuff they have, and just start to make some changes. Because for some people, it will be this gradual moving of the yardstick. It won't be one big jump to that to tiny home or sustainable community. So that's where that comes from.
So then with that in mind, how important are tiny homes specifically to your process? You mentioned them sometimes on your website, but it's kind of a side note. It's important, yes, but it's, so where do tiny homes, fit within your process or fit within your plan?
Yeah, that's a great question. And we do often get asked, are you sort of an organization that supports tiny homes? And, yeah, for sure, they're a big part of the solution. I mean, our organization supports sustainable off-grid communities, and those come in many shapes or sizes. But having said that, I think we can all see, whether it's the media or shows popping up on Netflix, the home movement is afoot. The market is here and now for this type of living because it is a simple and easy solution that people can see how to get into that more sustainable home, but also affordability. I think that's a big driver right now in terms of, like, from where I live here in Ontario. It's been challenging for people to just get started on a first home with the cost of living. And also, the Ontario government has brought building and buying tiny homes into the building code this January. So that's another exciting step. And that's also another signal in the province of Ontario, anyways, that, they're moving ahead with looking at this as a real solution to the way that we live. So I would say tiny homes are an important slice of the pie. But in our organization, we try and support all sorts of communities. And if a community wants to come and build, hempcrete homes or straw bale homes, or maybe a mix of tiny homes and those homes, then we would support them as well.
There's been a lot of talk around the community, especially while I've been doing interviews and talking about people interested in tiny homes, taking questions from our website and everything like that about defining tiny homes. Now, this isn't really something I kind of planned for this interview with you, because defining what a tiny home is isn't really what you do. But now I'm curious, what your opinion is of, how important is it for us to define tiny homes? Because without the definition of a tiny home, then regulations and where you can put things, buying land, it all becomes convoluted. So in your opinion, do we really need to tightly define tiny homes, or is it okay to have a converted bus and call it a tiny home?
Yeah, I think it means different things to different people. And I think people can describe things however they like. I mean, it also depends on each individual. Like in our organization, we are trying to show people how to establish these types of communities and this off-grid living in a legal way. So, part of what we do is to help point towards, some of the square footage sizes that might be required. And those do vary. Even in Ontario, now that we've brought it into the building code, municipalities still have their layer of bylaws and such that they can add. So it's going to vary from place to place, even in this province. And as you move across the country and around the world, would be the same thing. Depends who you are and how you're trying to define it for what purposes. But in my eyes, it's sort of moving to that, more sustainable, more compact of living, so that you can have, more time, more freedom, and know that you're doing your part for Mother Earth.
how much more power do you have then, as someone, or for anyone, how much more power do they have in owning the land that they're on to put, whatever kind of home they want? Are there different places you can buy land that give you more or less power, or more or less ability to put whatever you want? Or is there always, even if you own the land straight up and you can dig any holes you want, are they still regulating that in a way?
Yeah, they still are regulating that. And it was very interesting attending the recent tiny house show in Ancaster last weekend, just speaking to different individuals from different areas. So I learned that in Hamilton, Ontario, you can actually put up to 4 homes on a residential lot, which is quite permissive compared to some other parts of the province in Ontario anyways. Sometimes it's only 1 or 2 homes. So again, it does vary. They are still regulating that. But having said that, like one of the things that we are trying to promote is for those municipalities to look at their official plans. If they created a special designation for or sustainable living, they could have a set of rules that works for this type of living. Like it's starting to come in with those changes to the building code, but as always, there's more that can be done. But I would say by and large, most places there are still regulations around, the amount of homes and whether you're leasing or owning the land does make a difference as well.
I probably already answered that a little bit, but I wanted to sort of get an impression from you. What was it about Tiny Home Alliance Canada that made you decide, we're kind of, worth getting involved in, just to sort of give, people who are listening who aren't sure if it's a good idea to get involved, and why community is so important. So, let us know why you decided to join. Was it Rachel's smiling face, or was it just understanding the need? Where does that come from?
So for me, I guess it was just becoming aware of the organization. We were fortunately placed across the hall from each other at that recent tiny house show. So I was excited to see that name and to walk over and make connections. So I think really for us, and even just reflecting on that show, one of my biggest takeaways was the partnerships and the conversations, but it was also very inspiring to see that many people excited about tiny homes and wanting to live off grid. Like the volume of people that went through that first show was incredible. The lineups in the homes, it was like being at Canada's Wonderland and it's your favorite ride, So I think just having that like connection with like-minded associations, everyone is doing their own thing, but we're all working towards a common goal. So to me, I see a lot of alignment with the Tiny Home Alliance to what we're doing. We're doing a lot of the same things, so we can work together on them.
So tell the audience, tell our community here, what does Seeds for Eco Community see in the future? How do where is your best, most brightest future lie?
Well, as you can see from the website, we have spent quite a bit of time and will continue to spend time in just getting information out there, free resources for people, so that it can be accessible and usable and people can start to benefit. In addition to the pilot community, we're really keen to help others get communities established. Although we are Ontario based, we definitely have a global vision. That directory that we have of eco communities around the world is one project, and some of that research we did on those eco communities because we really want to start to help others. So I think kind of looking into the future, I sort of envision local ambassadors in different countries that are our point people, and they're using the resources. Because when you look at something like an eco community, there's things like governance, bartering systems, respect for the earth that can be transferred and learned. I mean, you're always going to have the local context, the local climate of how you can build and how you work together, what the interests are, and the local economies that you're working with. But I think we have a lot of resources that can be used far and wide. So we really want to get out there and get those resources around the globe. We don't discriminate with age or race or social status or economic wealth. Like it's not we're not about the money. We're not for profit, So we just want to get the information out, and we want people to have the opportunity that if they want to start living in a sustainable community, that they have a way to get there.
That's just amazing. And, everybody, if you want to ever support not-for-profits, like Seeds for Eco Communities, especially, everybody get out there and join those social media channels, hit the like, hit subscribe. I know you hear it over and over and over again, but it really is literally easier than turning off your alarm in the morning to help support something. It just, all it does is it tells the algorithms, yes, I appreciate this. Yes, I support this. And then the algorithm says, fine, you like it, let's share it some more. And it literally, everybody, the easiest way to support these communities to do that. However, if you really want to support a little more, if you want to put a bit of your bank behind it or a bit of your skills behind it, Laura, tell us how somebody like that could further support your organization.
Well, I would say the first thing to do is just reach out and send us an email and let us know how you want to get involved. There's lots of different ways to get involved, whether you're just an individual who would like to become a member to become more informed, or to join our social channels and learn a little bit more about, what we're doing, or if you want to become a more formalized member of the team and support us, work on a project together. There's so many opportunities, and we're very open people, open to new ideas, and working together and building each other up. So, wherever you see a linkage, just reach out and we'll be happy to chat together. And I guess just one thing I wanted to add around, like, for the future, who could be supported by this, you're seeing around the world, there's a lot of different groups. Like, affordable housing is a huge issue here and in many other places, but there's also these types of more sustainable communities helping veterans, helping seniors, those with disabilities, the homeless population. There's a lot of different contexts, I think, that this type of resources and way of life can help people who are struggling as well. Just wanted to add that.
Oh no, absolutely. And it's one of those things that everybody knows about, but it seems like to get something done, you got to shout it from the mountaintops. You know what, Laura? I want to thank you so much for being on the show today. It was a super fun.
Awesome. Thank you so much for the invitation, and I look forward to future partnerships together.
Oh yeah, me too. So stick around. Hold on. With that, everybody, I'd like to say thanks to all of our supporters on Patreon and also to our entire community on social media, and of course our volunteer board of directors who work so hard to help put these things together. If you enjoyed this video, then you might as well smash that subscribe button, and while you're there, give this video a like too. It's literally the easiest way to support what we do. So you can find and support Seeds for Eco Communities on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Pinterest, TikTok, Twitter, and YouTube. All the links are down in the comments. Head over and give those folks some good love. So thanks again to Laura BLEASE for sharing her wisdom here today. Thanks everyone for watching, and remember, go big, living tiny. Bye, everyone.